Hey guys, Ramsey Rich Fruits here today with a very special video going to show you my pantry, all my canned foods. So let's get right into it. Okay, so the first thing we have on this shelf is some sweet relish. Made this last year. Basically I just used my bread and butter pickle recipe, and that's all that is. So then I have 3 jars of that, so I'm almost out. I have 3 jars of my sweet onion jam. This is really good on like hamburgers, hot dogs, those sorts of things. You can even eat it with cream cheese and crackers, anything like that. So I have 3 jars of that. Next year, I think what I'll do with that is I will put it in smaller jars, so jars like this. That way they're not in the huge pints since we don't use it that often. So we'll use that up, and then next year I will do the smaller jars. Moving on, I've got some bread and butter pickles from last year. So 2 rows of bread and butter. And then I have some spicy pickles. So these are spicy dill. Let me get you guys zoomed in here. Spicy dill, and then I have some medium salsa. Me and my mom made that this year in a video. So I have 3 rows of medium. And then over here, I've got a row of mild. And then this is some apple butter that my brother made us this year. So I haven't tried that yet, but it looks really good. So thank you, Dalton. And then I've got 3 jars left from last year's peach salsa, and it needs to get ate up. So we will work on that this winter. And then next thing, I've got our strawberry jam. So I did some in these bigger containers, and then I did some in these smaller ones. So I did a bunch of these, so I'll probably give some of these away as Christmas gifts. And then I've got a couple jars of jalapenos from last year. So about 3 jars of those. Okay, so moving up, I've got some cheddar broccoli rice roni. Got some just white rice back here and there. Some jasmine rice, jambalaya. This is some gluten-free pasta that my mom gave me, and we don't really like it, so it's been sitting here for a while, but it needs to get eaten. And then for Isaac, mac and cheese. I'm gluten-free, so I have to eat gluten-free pasta, but these sorts of things are for him. Same with the hamburger helper. And then this is another thing that I didn't really like, but I need to get ate, is this lentil penne. So I'll work through this winter, even though I'm not a huge fan. My favorite gluten-free pasta is the Barilla brand. So I've got some elbows, and then I have 3 boxes of their spaghetti. Okay, and if you shop at Aldi's, this Live G-free quinoa brown rice pasta is really good. So I eat this and the Barilla mainly. So this is one of my favorite pastas, though, from Aldi's. And you can tell I'm almost out of this bag, so I need a new one. Okay, moving on with some more stuff that Isaac really likes. So he loves beef stew. So I've got a couple jars of that, some SpaghettiOs, and then back here I've got some beefaroni. So that's all kind of for him as convenience stuff. Okay, moving on to the next section. This is all pasta sauce. So my homemade pasta sauce is everybody's favorite. I got the recipe from that 1870s homestead, and we absolutely love it. So there's always a whole row dedicated to pasta sauce. Now, one thing that I did different this year is we made some pasta sauce without the Parmesan cheese. So that's what's in this jar. Just because my nieces are dairy-free. So I've got 2 rows of the pasta sauce with no Parmesan, and then everything else moving this way is all of the pasta sauce with the Parmesan. So you can tell the consistency is different because this has cheese in it and the other doesn't. So these little jars are good for like if I'm just having a meal for myself, and then if me and Isaac are gonna have a meal, one jar is enough for us. And then I've got some bigger quart jars over here if we have family and stuff over. This was a recipe I tried last year and we made it again this year, was jalapeno jam. So this is just basically cowboy candy, but in a jam form. So I make these in little jars because we'll pour these over like cream cheese and eat it with crackers and those sorts of things. So that's why it's diced up like this, because we eat it like this more than say if I sliced it into rounds. So I have 1.5 rows behind these 2 jars here of that. So probably won't get us to next season, but we will certainly love that. Okay, so moving on from this row to the upper cabinets. So this is all kind of convenience things for dinners for us. So this tomato paste I use like in my pasta sauce and other recipes. So you can see I've got a couple jars there of that. Diced tomatoes, I found out this year it is really hard to do diced tomatoes from frozen tomatoes. So I made that mistake, so I won't do that again. Then I have some green enchilada sauce, some baked beans, skyline chili. If you're from Ohio, you know. Some cream of soups. And you can make these and can them yourself, but I just have these 2 left over and then I will can my own. Tomato soup. I don't really like the consistency of homemade tomato soup. You need a sifter and things like that, and I just don't have those. So we always buy Campbell's because it's just the creamiest tomato soup that we like. Okay, and then black beans. So I grew black beans in the garden this year, but you need a lot of plants to have a lot of jars of black beans, and my garden just isn't big enough. So I like the Aldi's Simply Nature organic black beans. I find that those don't have as much of the like juice in them, and they stay whole better than the non-organic. Chili beans, which I've got only 1 jar left, so I need to buy some. I just made chili this week. We eat a lot of chili in the winter. And then just some random jars of things that I don't grow. Peas, you need a lot of pea plants to make 1 jar of peas, and it's just not worth my time to do peas. So I've got a jar of peas. I've got some sliced carrots, which these are left over. I haven't pulled my fall carrots yet, so we needed some carrots for the house. Another Aldi's thing, we really like these fried apples, and we just eat these like as a meat or as a dessert after dinner. Back there, I've got some more packets of the chili base that we make our chili from. And then over here, I got a jar of peaches. Isaac really likes canned fruits, so when we have fruit from our tree, that'll be in a couple years, then I can do canned fruits for him. And then back here I've got some apricots, and I'll probably blend these into baby food because Isaac doesn't really like them. So, and over here just some local stuff from local farms. So we really like this with bread and butter. So it's just a spun honey with cinnamon, and it is so good. So it's from the Prairie Ridge Honey Farm in Lakeview. Over here, some hot pepper berry bacon jam. This is so good with cream cheese and crackers. We do a lot of nights where we have what I call girl dinner, mom dinner, charcuterie board type things. So this is really good for that. Same with this sweet red pepper relish. This is something I bought at Hurley Farms. So if you're from the area, you probably know what Hurley Farms is. And this is really good. And then I've just got some canning things. So I've got vinegar, apple cider vinegar, And then this maple vinegar. This is really good to make like maple pickles. So like a really sweet bread and butter pickle. Okay, our very last cabinet. So I've got a bunch of canning stuff up there. So that's what that is. And then this is all stuff to make soups. So this is chili base. So chili base here. I've got some chili base back here and some more right here. So I've got plenty of chili base, but I can always make more if we run out because I do have frozen tomatoes in the freezer. These are all jars of tomato juice, so I can use those in soups. Same here. I've got some, I call this soup mix. So this is the leftover juice from making salsa. So that's what these two are. I've got a jar back here of vegetable soup and then 4 more jars here. And this is all homegrown from the garden. Everything in here is from the garden except the peas and the diced tomatoes. So really, really good recipe. And I'll be sharing that with you guys soon. And then here is my epic fail. So you guys will also see this in an upcoming video. But I tried to make diced tomatoes from frozen tomatoes. And you can kind of see that they just got really watery in the water bath and didn't really set up well. So I'm going to call this crushed tomatoes because that's kind of what they are. So I've got a row here and then this little one here. And then back here in the corner, I've just got some spices to do pickles and things like that. Bay leaf, so bay leaf, turmeric, pickle crunch. So yeah, this is basically just pickle stuff in this one here. Okay, let's talk about some things you don't see in this cabinet and why. So things like onions, carrots, peppers, green beans. So my sweet corn that I bought from my friend Maggie and our green beans are all in the freezer. We like them better frozen than we do canned. So those sorts of things are in our freezer. Our carrots, I just store those in the refrigerator. So I clean them and then I put them in the refrigerator and they last, 3-4 months in the refrigerator. So there's really no reason for us to can them. I don't really like them canned, so that's why you don't see that up here. And then my onions, I will walk you back into where I store those because I obviously don't have the room in these cabinets, so we have them in another room. So this year I grew almost 200 onions. And they are back in our closet back here. They are all in these bags right here. We've gone through about 3 of these big bags already this year. So I've got some purple onions in here, some yellow onions, and then these are all white onions behind these jars here. Now, what is in these jars? So my husband's father made us beer. He actually brewed his own beer and put it in these bottles for us. And we have gone through 1, 2, 3 out of the 4 jars of beer. So thank you, David. We really enjoyed this beer. I think with the last bottle, I want to make beer mustard. So I will show you guys when I decide to can and make beer mustard. Okay guys, we are in my kitchen. So I want to show you what we have in my vegetable freezer and all those things that we just talked about that I didn't can, I have in this freezer. Okay guys, here is my freezer. So these are all pumpkins that I chopped up and froze. I'm going to be making those into some pumpkin puree. I just didn't have time to finish it the other day. So that's what's in these. Beneath that, I've got some deer meat. So this is ground deer. And then in this box down here, I've got some backstrap, some deer roast, some deer steaks, those sorts of things from the deer that Isaac shot. Then under here, I've got some green beans. These I haven't labeled. I just pulled them out and threw them in there. Underneath this is all the beans. So this whole row down is beans. Same with these peas. I forgot to label them, so I just threw them in there. And then below that is sweet corn. And I don't know if we've got enough there to last this year, but yeah, that's all sweet corn. So let me show you how deep this is first of all, so you get an idea. So this is what the freezer looks like, and I'm sorry it's a mess. We're in the midst of a remodel. But yeah, so that is how deep the freezer is. So about halfway down, I've got some peppers that I cut up and some red onion that was about to go bad, so I put that in here too. So let me throw all that back in the bottom here. And then these are some deer meatballs, and I will show you guys my recipe for those as well. And then in this corner, I've just got some store-bought asparagus, and then this is all cabbage. So what I do with this cabbage is I throw it in roast, stew, those sorts of things, because it was going to go bad, so I had to freeze it. So that's what all that is down there. And then I'll take you guys over to my other freezer and show you what is in there. My other freezer is in my breezeway, which has currently got all of our couches and stuff from the living room in it. So what do you do? So let me turn you around and show you what's in here. Okay, so this year we decided to buy a quarter cow from our family. And so what we have in here is pre-made patties and then ground beef. Let me pull this out. Okay, and then in this bag we've got some strip steaks, some roast, and some ground chuck. And then in the bag down here, I've got a brisket and another really big roast. So I find it easier to keep them in these bags and keep them separated so that we can kind of see what we've got. So the reason that we bought the cow this year, and there's the freezer right here behind me, and it filled that entire freezer. So if you're wanting to get a quarter cow, you better have a pretty big freezer, because a lot of the cow or the beef we've actually already ate, and I had in the other freezer because it was overflow. So, but yeah, back to what I was telling you. So the reason that we bought the quarter cow from our family is to become more locally sourced. So I kept telling Isaac that locally sourced food is so much better. You're gonna see the quality in the beef. It is a big expense at first, but after he tried it and after I tried it, we both agreed that the quality of the beef was 100% better. You know, you don't save money on the ground stuff, but you do save money on the steaks and the roast and the brisket. So I think in the end, it all kind of evens itself out, in my opinion. So if you guys have any local cow farmers, I would definitely talk to them about buying a quarter cow, a half a cow. If we had a bigger freezer or another freezer, we would probably have bought more. But since this was our first time, we just wanted to see how it went. So next year, hopefully we'll have another freezer, and then we can buy more beef. So yeah, I would highly recommend talking to your local farmers and seeing what you can find. So we have a lot of people around here that farm. We live in a very rural area, so small town, everybody's farming. So, and then we have a lot of local people who grow vegetables. So for example, I didn't have a lot of strawberries this year from my garden because it was the second year. So I bought like pounds and pounds of strawberries from a local farm here, and we made all that strawberry jam. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.